What are you making of this? I mean, it does seem that we've got volumes which are light to sepulchral on markets in China in particular. What's going to, I mean, it seems like people just move from one asset class to the next, build up asset bubbles and then move on.
Well, it's a bit like that, isn't it? And as long as central banks price money at zero, it's going to go on like that.
But the Chinese central bank doesn't.
No, it doesn't. That's fair enough. But I mean, China is surely a country which is hardly short of liquidity, whether it's priced properly or not. And I would say it's priced improperly. And it's still growing at, if you take broad money, if you take credit, it's still growing at twice to 3 times the rate of GDP. So the money has to go someplace. Now, look, technically, if you look at the technicals of this rally, it actually could carry on a bit further. But as you say, it's extremely narrow, volumes are extremely light, and I don't think it's a reversal of trend.
Do you think the US dollar story is going to get messier as we go through the year?
It really depends on what the Fed does or doesn't do. Clearly, they've now signaled fairly outrightly that they intend to raise interest rates, provided the economy gives them some data upon which to do it. That's either June or July, I think. And if they don't do it, then, you know, their credibility is on the line again, which is, you know, they keep saying, oh, we're going to do it, we're going to do it, we're going to do it, and then they don't do it, you know, it's a little...
Like September last year, essentially, and they got into so much trouble for that, didn't they, afterwards? Yeah. And, you know, they're damned if they do and damned if they don't, effectively.
Well, the one thing I think we do want to cut out of our thinking, because it's incorrect, is that the Fed can't do anything during an election period, presidential election period.
You say they can?
Yes, of course they can. If you look back at history, in 50% of approximately of all the electoral periods I've looked at, they changed interest rates normally up.
June is so messy, though. You've got Brexit a week after the Fed, you've got the BOJ, you've got, of course, US elections all going through over the period of those months. They can't move in July by tradition. There's no press conference. Is it?
Yeah, but they can. You see, they can go live anytime they like, and they've said so.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it's slightly more organisationally difficult to go live when you're meant to be dead, but the fact of the matter is, can they do it? They can do anything they want. Look, everything is going to be messy practically all the time. I mean, if you look at the European political calendar, it's not exactly ignoring Brexit. I mean, look at the Spanish elections, look at the coming referendum in Italy, which is really a referendum on Renzi. There are things practically every month coming up which are potentially disruptive. Now, I don't think the Fed can go around the place really saying, okay, well, we're going to wait for the next appointments to the Politburo before we act, or what's going to happen on Brexit. They can only turn up and say, look, there's an increased level of foreign risk, therefore we're not going to increase interest rates. But I think the risk has to happen.
No, it's not like even if Britain votes to leave the European Union, it's not like the next day they're going to have left the European Union. It's going to be a protracted affair.
Yeah, but yes, but look, it's going to. I mean, I don't think it's the great flushing of the economic toilet. No. And catastrophe. But I do think, look, things start moving very quickly. Markets would price down sterling by 10 or 15%. Then you have to ask your question: does that make the Bank of England defend sterling, or cut rates because it's bad news for the economy? Then you have to look at the Europeans. They've all got their own horrible populist, worse than Trump movements, half of them, which they have to contain. If they give the Brits an easy way out and they say, okay, well, you know, you voted for Brexit, now we're going to have another sit down and make things nice and easy, or blah, 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 as normally happens in Europe. If they do that, they're giving a free license to every kind of populist nincompoop on the planet.
I've not heard the word nincompoop for ages. Great word.
It's a great word, yes. It's a great word. And therefore, they're going to have to deal extremely severely with Britain. Now, the exit takes 2 years. But the signal coming out of the exit is going to be very tough.